SsangYong is dead. Well, it would be more accurate to say it will be tomorrow. After decades of life support, South Korean shot callers will strap SsangYong Straya into old Sparky on the morrow, whence it will be properly lit up and then resurrected. Kind of like Jesus. And henceforth known as KGM Australia, which is much easier to type, frankly. Like SsangYong, dude. I'm not going to miss not typing that in the future, let me tell you. KGM Australia's first major achievement tomorrow will be to launch a glorious new corporate slogan. And where would we be without those, dude? Korean built to last. With no punctuation, but hey. I do hope the agency moved the decimal point like 3 hops to the right, invoicing that one. Imagine how long it took the intern to dream up this zero substance word salad. Korean built to last. Guaranteed to resonate so powerfully with all 12 or 13 Australians who buy one in coming months. Well done, solving the company's major strategic issues as an absolute top priority. In other news, there's a new SsangYong Actyon. Less hideous than previously, which is frankly not that hard. Bit of a naked Land Rover rip-off on the styling too, but hopefully more reliable than an actual Land Rover. Still gutless though, because hey, I suppose some things never change. I'm Cadogan, morrow.com.au. New cars cheap, even KGM Australia's. Dude, if you'd like to do that to yourself, I'm not the slightest bit judgmental, but Australia only. Website, come on! SsangYong's rebrand is the culmination of a case study on the collective stupidity of large corporations spending other people's money like the world frickin' ends tomorrow. The new name arises as a consequence of SsangYong's second bankruptcy and corporate egos out of control. The first bankruptcy was back in 2009 when the company was basically still South Korean but Chinese controlled. And things were going absolutely well, mainly because the Chinese and South Koreans are historically such pals, until one day when senior Shanghai auto investment bean counter types cracked the absolute shits, declaring, and I'm paraphrasing, "Fuck you, SsangYong. We're sick of propping you up and your third-rate operation, pay your own damn bills for a change," kind of thing. And then downhill rapidly after that. Hence the first bankruptcy filing, which was quite dramatic if memory serves. Workers stormed the factory, took control because so many of them were about to be fired, and they occupied the factory for, I think it was 77 days, which only stopped when riot cops stormed the joint with tear gas, etc. What a happy camp. Mahindra and Mahindra bailed them out, mainly because they forgot to go to Specsavers for their annual checkup. Happily, there were no more occupation, tear gas, insolvency, speed hump type interventions for 11 incredible years, until the operation went financially breasts up again late in 2020. Now, at that point, SsangYong proved so damned attractive as an insolvency acquisition prospect that it took just 2 years and court intervention for South Korea's KG Group grudgingly to make them an offer. KG Group knows nothing about cars, clearly. They have their tendrils in chemicals and steel and fintech, IT, and the media kind of thing. So this brilliant new name, right, KG Mobility, is all about corporate egos. Perversely, though, it brands forever the phoenix of SsangYong with the indelible spectre of its second bankruptcy bailout. Hashtag marketing challenge. This report is sponsored by NordVPN. Get big savings plus 4 extra months of Nord for free right now in Nord's exclusive birthday deal. Go to nordvpn.com/AEJC. Online security threats are everywhere, but you do not have to be the next victim. That's where NordVPN comes in, locking everything down efficiently in the background. Go to nordvpn.com/AEJC now. Every 2-year NordVPN plan receives that huge discount, plus a coupon that entitles you to 6 free months, which you can use to extend your subscription, or you can even give it to a friend. nordvpn.com/AEJC. Link in the description. Using NordVPN is easy. Just subscribe, download the app and connect. 1 click later, your IP address is shielded and your traffic will be encrypted across as many as 6 of your devices. Nord is the fastest VPN on the planet. It costs only about as much as 1 cup of coffee every month to keep your data, your identity, and your devices secure. Masking your location means you'll be able to access streaming and other services that might be blocked where you live. Plus, you can continue to watch your favourite content when you travel. Go to nordvpn.com/AEJC now. Boost your security, get that huge discount, and enjoy those extra months completely free. It's all totally risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. It's easy to stay safe online. Just visit nordvpn.com/AEJC now. Some say peak SsangYong occurred in the 1990s when the company bought 3-Prong, a drink, or 20, after which Satan's official car maker just couldn't say no. 3-Prong promptly dropped its DAX and gave SsangYong good old-fashioned consent to access its 2.3, 2.7 and 3.2 litre engines and its 5-speed transmissions. At that point, SsangYong branded its monuments to automotive excellence, quote, Mercedes technology under the hood. Imagine that. Who doesn't want something like that? Mercedes technology under the hood. Correct answer, anyone who's ever made a warranty claim at a 3-Prong dealership. It was good while it lasted, I suppose, but 3-Prong spat the frickin' pacifier when the Chinese muscled in on the old girl, sadly, and that was in 2000 and I'm going to say 4. 3-Prong was just a bit of a fling for SsangYong, you know. Didn't really mean anything. Pro tip, they do hate it when you say that, so best not try. It was just a bit of fun on the side in any case, and hey, anyone in a glass house probably shouldn't throw a stone there. So, I say that peak SsangYong occurred 2 decades ago with a car unbelievably ahead of its time. Can you think what it is? A beacon of the most daring design. The Daisy Duke on a bearskin rug of 7-seat people movers. The 2005 SsangYong Stavic. To say it was courageous is a glaring understatement. This fine chariot could be yours today, used with its 3-prong 2.7 diesel powertrain and very little risk of disease for well under $1,000. Go figure. Imagine that. You could own this icon of automotive history. Dude. One makes a real statement turning up in a car such as this. People who really know cars will turn and acknowledge you, especially if you park right next to their M3 in a classic piece of shit like that. It's easy to see why SsangYong achieved 2,645 sales in Australia in 2005, isn't it? With distinctive vehicles such as this in your inventory. Sales of this magnitude were a foregone conclusion. That's pretty clear. Remarkably ahead of its time. Like, make just a few minor aesthetic changes, dude, and this could be the blueprint, I think, for a 2026 or 2027 Kia Everest, philosophically. A Tasman-based hardcore 4x4 wagon with styling cues inspired by the timeless 2005 Stavic. Such a vehicle would integrate seamlessly into the burgeoning K-Backwards-N off-road portfolio, almost as if the intervening 2 decades never actually happened. Look me in the eye and tell me you absolutely don't want one, with its 3-prong power and seductive Pyongyang looks. You could park such a vehicle anywhere and leave it running with an open suitcase overflowing with drug money in the passenger seat, and the styling alone will protect your investment from petty theft. Nobody with even vestigial self-respect would dare to be seen anywhere near it. Joe Lee, the cheese of KGM Australia, nee SsangYong, couldn't shut up about these bold new developments. And gush, he did. Unveiling new vehicles is always a highlight for us all, particularly when it's something as striking and appealing as Actyon, a modern revival of the world's first coupe-style SUV. It's timely we fully embrace the KGM branding here in Australia and celebrate the latest vehicle design language with the brand logo refreshed to align with KGM's global identity and better reflect our commitment to design excellence. A 37-word sentence there of comprehensive corporate word salad. Amazing. But who knows what it actually means? I mean, I've tried to decipher it and sucking on a dry tank, dude. Being in this 3-way must have been very entertaining indeed, however. Like, I'm feeling it, and I wasn't even there. Thank Christ. A new meaningless slogan, a new name steeped in insolvency, and a new Actyon nakedly ripping off a Range Rover Velar. So stimulating. If that were my frickin' show, we would doubtless be looking down the barrel of a full-blown medical emergency. Nobody wants that. To be fair, new shitbox Actyon is not based on a Land Rover platform, not at all. There is no technical or engineering collaboration between Land Rover and SsangYong that I know of, at least. The closest thing to a point of intersection I can find on that is the subcontinent. Right? Tata from India owns Land Rover and the Rainbow Coalition of Jaguar. Mahindra had a big stake in SsangYong before telling them to fuck off in 2022. Subcontinental rivals. And Land Rover does make some very aesthetically pleasing pieces of shit too. Tow truck drivers love them, understandably. Land Rover puts their kids through the same private schools as Land Rover owners' kids go to. So they know each other at many levels. New Actyon is probably just an aesthetic rip-off because Team KGM is yet to experience an original design inspiration post-bankruptcy. I would have implored them just to look back at the most beautiful conveyance in the world that isn't a Pontiac Aztec or a 1932 Stout Scarab. Gorgeous. That gorgeous Scarab is actually the world's first aluminium unibody car and the world's first actual people mover, complete with a rear-mounted Ford V8 if you want to hang it out a bit. All things considered, it's just an unmitigated bitchin' ride, dude. I know I want one. Without the Scarab, perhaps the Stavic could never have existed. So it does have quite a bit to answer for. You'd agree. Ssangyong Straya sold almost 5,400 cars in Shitsville last year, the second best result for them this century, I think. That's more than other shitbox brands, including Skoda, Jeep, Genesis, Jaguar, Mini, and Peugeot. But still hardly a triumph, is it? I mean, upstarts like MG sold 50,000 cars and GWM sold 43,000. Buying a KGM Australia product remains something of an automotive IQ test, I would argue. If you're pretending to be a mainstream car maker in Australia and you're not selling 20,000 cars here, you just don't have the dealer support network, the spare parts inventory, the background of technical training to make ownership worthwhile for the actual consumer. Like, dude, you just don't. You can pretend that this is not so, and that's what's called marketing, obviously, but these claims about being adequate if you've got such small sales volume, they're just bullshit. You can only sell cars like this if they're cheap, and even then it's a complete false economy because having zero demand in the used market means depreciation is going to be a freaking bloodbath, dude. A cheap car can prove to be very expensive indeed when you offload it if nobody wants it. And KGM Shitsville will be a pin-up girl for this end of ownership economic inversion. Buy one if you want. Don't say I didn't warn you. In response to Joe Lee's euphoric statement concerning tomorrow's three-way, kindly allow me to paraphrase the prophetic words of renowned social philosopher and stacked superstar Dolly Parton and her puppies. Jolie, 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 I'm begging of you, please don't make my van. Jolie, 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 please don't make it. Just because you can. Dolly and the puppies, ladies and gentlemen. Incroyable. I'm certainly not about to argue with those three. They have an outstanding track record, don't they? Looking forward to hearing more about KGM Australia's performance over the coming months. Should be entertaining and interesting. Antichrist out.